it's not going to be a popular stream for people. First off, what is gnosis? Gnosis is like a Greek word for knowledge, but it's knowledge that's gained through experience or seeking it, or maybe having it happen to you, I guess, in a way, uh, against your will. So that's kind of like what we're talking, because that's really what I want to talk about. This is the red pill, guys. There's another level to the red pill. Yeah, there's bitches that use you and things like that. The food's not good for you and things like that. But why is that? Why is that? Because like this is what Jesus is saying. He's like, be in this world but not of this world, because this world has a lot fundamentally gone wrong with it at the core of it that you didn't create. We're going to go deep tonight.
In 1999, the Wachowski siblings released a film that would become a cultural phenomenon and redefine what science fiction cinema could be.
What's up, Secret?
The Matrix, directed by Lana and Lily Wachowski, wasn't just revolutionary for its groundbreaking special effects, the bullet time sequences that became instantly iconic,
and they may be small hats, Wachowski,
the wire-fu choreography that brought Hong Kong action aesthetics to Hollywood blockbusters. It was revolutionary because buried within a mainstream action film watched by millions was one of the most complete presentations of Gnostic philosophy ever put on screen.
Fuck it.
Most audience members walked out talking about the action sequences and the cool visuals. But those familiar with ancient Gnostic texts walked out stunned, recognizing that they'd just witnessed a nearly point-by-point...
This is what I'm talking about. So I'm considering myself a Gnostic, probably a Gnostic Christian. Gnostic means from Gnosis. Gnosis is kind of like wisdom. It's a Greek word for wisdom, and more of like a God wisdom. Yeah, I've done microdose before. I think I might just stick to that because I don't really trip balls anymore, but I do like to microdose. It's funny, I do it in the summertime a lot. I've done it several microdose for a few weeks at a few times. And I did the Paul Stamets, however you say his name. You take a small amount of shrooms like every third day. And I took the lion's mane mushroom with it, which is a different type of mushroom. You take a little bit of niacin, which is vitamin B3. It says it helps with neuropathy and things like that quite a bit. The nervous system.
Retelling of Gnostic cosmology disguised as cyberpunk entertainment. The basic plot is deceptively simple. Thomas Anderson, a software programmer living an ordinary life, discovers that his reality is actually a computer simulation called the Matrix, created by machines to keep humans docile while their bodies are harvested for energy. He's rescued by a group...
So in some ways, I think this happens, but on one level, it's just the dollar and stuff. I mean, you know, there's a lot of people that work their ass off and the energy is robbed from them more than if they just had like planted the food themselves and did certain things. So we're always in a toll booth.
Of rebels led by Morpheus, who believe Anderson is
parasitic
the one,
toll,
a prophesied figure who will liberate humanity from the simulation. Anderson takes the name Neo.
Let's see what Gnosticism is a diverse collection of second-century religious movement emphasizing gnosis, esoteric spiritual knowledge over faith or ritual for salvation. Yeah. Oh, well, secret drop of knowledge. Again, I'll put the stream link out. But I've been interested in this topic for a bit. I didn't really plan on making this stream for this, but I think now is a good time to go over it. So a lot of Gnosticism as well, from the Christian perspective, I found out about these texts that called the Nag Hammadi texts, and they were supposed to be basically a part of the Bible, and they found them in Egypt. Some like farmer found it in Egypt, basically buried in these clay pots and stuff, and gave them over to the religious community, whoever, whatever scientists and stuff. I think that was like 1949. So like, we'll just say 1945, just to say that. So I mean, those have been hidden for 2,000 years, and we're still working on decoding some of them and stuff. Not decoding them, but like, some of them were messed up. So these are things like the Gospel of Thomas and things like that. Yes, yeah. These are Gnostic. Yeah, exactly. Gospel of Thomas. Yeah, and the Gospel of Truth. And they're actually kind of difficult to read. So we're mostly reading interpretations of them. But this is like basically kind of what not the new Christianity, but what it should be. And that's not following Joel Osteen and celebrating Easter with the Easter Bunny and all this bullshit. It's not even necessarily Orthodox Christianity. Basically, Jesus is more saying that be in this world, but not of this world. So he is saying that this material realm for most people is everything. That it's very difficult to it's difficult to explain it, but that's kind of what the Matrix is going to be. But that's what I'm saying. We are being depleted and beat down and kind of made to be monetary slaves in a cage, just saying, oh, well, the way you win is kind of basically exploit other people and not get beat. That's not like you'll see what I mean.
And begins learning to manipulate the Matrix from within, eventually awakening to powers that allow him to bend or break the simulation's rules. But look at this through a Gnostic lens. And
again, guys, that text is hidden for 2,000 years, basically. That's a big deal. We have things like AI and stuff coming out. Like, we are in a time where you got to get yourself right with God or figure out what's going on for you. This is the time. So in my mind, this is kind of getting right with God or figuring out certain things.
Every element becomes precise theological allegory. The Matrix itself is the material world, the realm that the Gnostics called the Canoma, the realm of emptiness and deficiency, a false reality created.
Yeah, Seagrip's right, but ask ourselves, is our modern culture, a modern society living with any divinity or any reverence or any respect for each other? No, it's I got to get mine. I got to get, I need a Corvette. I need a bigger house. I actually need two houses. I need more. And you got to work, you got to consume, you got to produce, you got to do all that. Yeah, those things are important, but they're important in the game of, capitalism, slaves mindset 2.0. It's 2026, guys. Like we're using printed money and stuff here, guys. So there are people who are slaves to printed money. And this is what I'm talking about. You think this is what Jesus would want? This type of stuff? No. He doesn't want you to have interest on paying for things. That means that's a form of slavery. That's why Muslims don't like it. Because you're paying, if you get a loan, you have to pay it back. It's not asking for free, but interest is really a big problem.
To imprison consciousness. The machines are the demiurge and the archons, the rulers of this false reality who maintain control by keeping souls.
Rewind it a bit because I kind of ranted. Sorry about that.
Reality is actually a computer simulation called the Matrix, created by machines to keep humans docile while their bodies are harvested for energy. He's rescued by a group of rebels led by Morpheus, who believe Anderson is the One, a prophesied figure who will liberate humanity from the simulation. Anderson takes the name Neo and begins learning to manipulate the Matrix from within, eventually awakening to powers that allow him to bend or break the simulation's rules. But look at this through a Gnostic lens, and every element becomes precise theological allegory. The Matrix itself is the material world, the realm that the Gnostics called the Canoma, the realm of emptiness and deficiency, a false reality created to imprison consciousness. The machine.
And that's what's happening. This is what I'm saying. For some people, yeah, fiat currency is not money. Yeah, if we're not on gold standard, if we're on gold standard or other things, that is different. Yeah. Fuck, what was I gonna say? But also this too. Like if I'm a scientist and I get a microscope and I zoom into this wooden table here, and I zoom in, 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 I zoom in like crazy, you just get like electrons that are not even solid. So there's not much like solidity to this. Even the material world itself. So there's different levels to this. There's different levels to this, but I think right now is the time. Like, I don't think Jesus is coming back as like a being on this earth. That would be good if he did, but like, guess what, guys? We got diddlers all over the place, in positions of power. You got World War III coming. Now is your time to find the Christ in you. You have to be Neo now. This is where, like, in my opinion, this is. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just saying let's explore this.
Machines are the
I'm not telling
demiurge and
anyone
the
what to believe.
archons, the rulers of this false reality who maintain control by keeping souls trapped in ignorance of their true nature. The real world.
And that's going to be Boston Dynamics' new Spider Dog thing. That'll be from Boston Dynamics, available to you by Amazon 2028.
Outside the Matrix, the world of Zion and the Resistance, represents the pleroma, the true spiritual reality beyond the material prison. And Neo himself is the Gnostic
Exactly,
revealer,
Liberty Caps.
the figure who brings Gnosis, direct
Exactly.
knowledge of reality's true nature, that liberates consciousness from bondage. The film opens with Trinity telling Neo, "It's the question that
Hello,
drives
Red
us.
Door.
It's the
Thanks for
question
being
that
here,
brought
guys.
you here. You know the question, just as I did." The question, of course, is, what is the Matrix? But on a deeper level, it's the fundamental Gnostic question. What is the nature of the reality I'm experiencing, and is there something beyond it? This question, this fundamental uncertainty about the nature of existence, is what begins the awakening process. As long as you accept the world as it appears, as long as you don't question the reality presented to your senses, you remain trapped. The question
And
itself.
most people are not even doing that. They're watching Taylor Swift on pills, cooked. They're watching Taylor Swift on pills, eating garbage food, with kids distracting them, and all this stuff. They cannot begin to even think about this. Not that they could even think about this. This is the real red pill. Is shit like this. Let's welcome Seagrip to the stage. Hey, man.
Is the beginning of liberation. Morpheus's offer to Neo is explicit Gnostic initiation. I'm trying to free your mind, but I can only show you the door. You're the one that has to walk through it. He presents two pills, the blue pill that will let Neo return to comfortable illusion, and the red pill that will show him the truth of reality, no matter how disturbing. This is the choice that the Gnostic texts describe. Remain in the comfortable sleep of ignorance, or pursue awakening even though it brings suffering along with knowledge. Neo chooses knowledge, chooses consciousness, chooses truth over comfort. What follows is one of the most visceral depictions of Gnostic awakening ever filmed. Neo takes the red pill, and his perceived reality begins to break down. Mirrors become liquid. His reflection distorts. The solid world reveals itself as malleable, illusory. Then he wakes up in his pod, discovering that what he thought was his body was just a digital projection, that his actual physical form has been imprisoned all along in a pod filled with amniotic fluid, wired into a vast system where millions of other humans lie unconscious, their bioelectric energy harvested by machines.
So I don't know if it's quite like that, but we do get our energy harvested all the time when we get emotional, when we, that feeling, like even like they say in the Matrix movie, that when I got to go to work, this sucks, that type of thing. Like that energy is not destroyed and it's going somewhere.
Their minds are trapped in the simulation. This is the Gnostic vision of material existence made literal. Humanity trapped in the material realm, the pods, consciousness imprisoned in false reality, the
And
matrix.
again, people are going to be literally sleeping in pods soon. We are like going to this direction.
The true divine nature, the real world, Zion, existing beyond the prison but inaccessible to those who haven't awakened. The machines keeping humans asleep and feeding on their energy is precisely what Gnostic texts describe the Archons doing, maintaining human ignorance and feeding on human consciousness and vital force. Agent Smith, the primary antagonist, represents the Archons in their most active form. He's an intelligent program whose purpose is to maintain the Matrix, to eliminate threats to the system, to prevent awakening. His speech to Morpheus reveals the demiurgic perspective perfectly. Human beings are a disease, a cancer of this planet. You are a plague. This is the archonic view of consciousness, something to be controlled, contained, made useful to the
Yeah.
system rather than allowed to develop autonomously. Smith's ability to take over anyone still connected to the Matrix, to possess their body and use them as agents of control, is exactly what Gnostic texts describe. Archonic forces operating through unconscious humans who don't realize they're being used to suppress awakening in themselves and others.
So that's most people. Most people live an unconscious life, an autopilot life, an unaware life. You know, a lot of times that's why they take the medication and stuff. They're like, oh, geez, I kind of like realized, you know, you know, like a lot of people who are schizophrenic and stuff actually kind of already see the world this way, but they're told to start seeing it the other way. They see, weird shit, and some of them are just really crazy too. But most people are never gonna let you go from the status quo, which is like, that's most modern age. And that also means, you better take the jab and you just do what you're told. And, all this stuff.
The oracle represents Sophia, divine wisdom in feminine form. She appears as an older woman baking,
And her matrix thing is just 3304, 334404 and stuff.
cookies in a modest apartment, the sacred disguised as mundane. She tells Neo what he needs to hear, not what he wants to hear, guiding him toward his destiny while respecting his free will.
Again, this is a good point. Tells him what she needs to hear, not what he wants to hear, or something like this. As men, it's a very alpha male, high testosterone thing to say what is true and not be a sheep. Don't go along to get along all the time. So if you say something is true, even if you're embarrassed and ashamed of saying it, you should be saying it. Always do what's true. When in doubt, tell the truth. But a lot of times that takes giant balls. Look at how they were saying with Trump. Trump is saying, oh, he's going against the woke stuff. He's just saying what's true and all that. See, he's a man. He's standing up. We stand up to all this woke bullshit. Yeah, that's true, but you're only doing that to the point where you're kind of comfortable. When are we going to talk about the fiat currency? When are we going to talk about the needless killing over the fiat currency? And, other shit like that. Like they're not doing that. Any of these people saying, "Oh, don't tread on me," and 1770, they're not going after the people on the Epstein files are really demanding real accountability. People are getting too scared to make that step or go that way. Why? Because it takes huge balls. The guy that just burned down the toilet paper factory has huge balls. He's like, you know what? I'm just done with it. I'm just done with it. And look at Ted Kaczynski. That's another thing. I think I thought I will send it to myself. I've been meaning to do this. We can go over the Ted K, the Unibonger, the Unibong Ripper, we'll call him. we can go over his manifesto because he talks about a ton of woke stuff and a ton of feminism and a ton of AI stuff years ago. He died in jail, and he's, I think, 82 years old. He just died like a year or two ago. But a very smart, very, very, very intelligent guy. Doing what is right rather than what is easy means prioritizing integrity, character, and long-term values over temp. Yeah, yep. And sometimes business opportunities and stuff too, as you're just saying, basically, like, for example, for me, like, kind of an example, what I can say that I've will sometimes say no to this, and it's to my detriment. That so I get pissed. There's like some landscape companies that I could do work for, like I could cut the trees and they could do part of it or something like that. But a lot of these people I saw, like one guy did a TikTok, oh, I'm, Lakes region, property management and all that. We just got all the guys in from Puerto Rico and they're back this year. You're using brown people to do all your hard work. I can tell he's never lifted a shovel, but he acts like they do it just because they exploit these people. And I get pissed. I don't think he pays them much. I don't care what color they are. He's barely going to pay them enough to live, and they're all going to live in probably some doghouse together. And he's going to say, oh, I'm the greatest guy ever because I'm giving them work. You wouldn't pay a guy what you would want to be paid or nearly close to it. So that would be someone to say, I'm not working with you, because this has happened to me where I saw somebody who was kind of making the special needs person work for them, but they were working them like a slave, and I hated it. And they paid him nothing. They paid him like $12 an hour, and he's like 30-something years old, and he was working his ass off and doing a good job, and he was kind of retarded. And I saw this guy make him do the most brutal labor all the time, redo things. So basically, he'd say like, "Oh, like, you raked my yard, go rake it again." But like hard labor type stuff. And I said to him, I'm not going to work with you because I don't like how you treat this guy like trash. And I was supposed to lead a pretty big project for him. I said, I'm not helping you. You treat this guy like trash. You should be ashamed of it. You do it because you're weak. And that was a big guy, owned a lot of properties around where I live. And I kind of fucked that up, but I actually did. This is what I'm saying. This takes balls. It takes balls to it's not going against the grain. It's just sometimes you just got to do the right thing for certain things. Because otherwise that guy will never, like, he's always going to remember that. I don't know if if he's going to pay the guy better, probably not. But I know that I see him for what he is. And we need to start doing that in our lives on a smaller level, guys. You know what I mean? In small ways, but do it with class, do it cordially. This is not just like you have a cigarette and you're saying dumb shit. You got to do, when it's ethical, do it.
Being the one is just like being in love. No one can tell you you're in love. You just know it through and through. Gnosis works the same way. It's direct knowledge that can't be transmitted secondhand, that must be experienced personally to be real. When Morpheus trains Neo in the simulation, teaching him that the rules of the Matrix can be bent or broken, this is instruction in the Gnostic understanding that material reality's laws are not ultimate, that consciousness has power over matter when it awakens to its true nature. You have to let it all go, Neo. Fear, doubt, and disbelief. Free your mind. This is the instruction given to Gnostic initiates. Release attachment to material reality's apparent limitations. Recognize that consciousness is not bound by the rules it's been taught to accept as absolute. The scene where Neo dodges bullets in slow motion isn't just cool action cinematography. It's visualization of awakened consciousness operating within material reality, but no longer fully bound by its rules. The Matrix can't fully contain or control someone who's recognized it as Matrix, who's achieved Gnosis. The limitations are revealed as imposed rather than inherent, breakable through consciousness.
These are, representative of corporations, big brother shit like that. So, like, guys, right now is the time to get yourself right spiritually and shit like that. Like, we can be in World War III. You can lose it all tomorrow. Are you ready to not die? I guess, yeah. You know, no one really wants to die, but I'm saying, are you ready to die? Did you clean your closet? Have you maybe go apologize to somebody, or do something that you should do, or make peace with something? And don't have as many attachments to this world. Like it's kind of frustrating because right now we live in a thing where everyone has, brand new trucks, cars, and everything like that. But like, again, materialism is the god of most people. And now it's going to become so blatant with some of these boomers, because they're going to hold on to the end, hold on to all that materialism, the boat, the cars. Oh, I need to stay on this life support forever, and I'm going to try to merge with AI to keep living forever. Why? Because they want the materialism as their god, and they're willing to. The materialism is worth more than human beings to most of them. That's part of it too. Because if it's across the globe, like, basically it's this, like, and this, I'm taking this from somebody else, use it as and again, it's a gross example, but it's saying most people are worried about getting their Domino's pizza within 30 minutes, and there could be a genocide on the other side of the world. Like, that type of shit is saying, like, we need to kind of acknowledge some of this, because we do. I don't know. I'm not really quite sure what I'm going to say, but I just see. I'm pissed off. I live in a rich town. I just see these people with all this like new stuff all the time and everything, and they're just doing like an act, I guess. But the materialism is their god, and that's just kind of what they don't understand. I don't think they have any real concept of God or anything like that. Just the materialism and just all the stupid TV shows.
Rather than absolute, Trinity's role is crucial and often overlooked. She's not just the love interest. She's the feminine principle that completes the masculine, the counterpart necessary for Neo to fully realize his nature as the One. When she tells him she loves him at the film's climax, when this declaration brings him back from death, this is the sacred marriage, the hieros gamos, the union of masculine and feminine principles that Gnostic and alchemical traditions describe as.
And that's not like the modern 304 who's like trash and everything.
Is essential for complete awakening and transformation. Neo's death and resurrection is obvious Christ symbolism, but it's Christ understood Gnostically rather than through Orthodox Christianity. He doesn't die for humanity's sins. He dies and returns by recognizing his true nature, by achieving complete Gnosis. When he comes,
hear that? That's what Easter's supposed. This is what Easter's supposed to like be about and shit. Not Easter bunny with Easter eggs eating. Think of how pissed you would be if you're Christ, if you give your kids these freaking like plastic chocolate Easter bunnies. You know what I mean? I'm taking it to an extreme, yeah. And it doesn't mean you can't have some fun with it and give somebody some candy and stuff, but it's like, you either really believe in this or not, because it's like, it just seems like a silly way to be celebrating it. It's more just an act. It's a virtue signaling.
Back.
We got to call out some people who virtue signal with Christianity and stuff too.
He can see
it's mostly women who do a lot of this shit. They want the Easter egg hunts, like the decorations and stuff. It doesn't mean don't be festive, but like these things are here for a reason.
Matrix's code directly, can manipulate it at will, has become fully awakened within the simulation while remaining connected to reality beyond it. This is the Gnostic promise, that full awakening allows you to operate in the material world while no longer being imprisoned by it.
I just
to
like
see
talking
through the
shit
illusion
about boomers
while still
sometimes.
engaging
I
with
see
it.
a lot of them.
The film's ending with Neo making a phone call to the Matrix's controllers, promising that he's going to show these people.
By the way, the guy His channel is called Forbidden Gnosis, I believe, but he has some good videos. A lot of the music that he was using was from those Resident Evil games, which just have some beautiful music and are pretty cool. So I just want to add that in.
What you don't want them to see, a world where anything is possible, is the Gnostic mission statement. Awakened consciousness working to awaken others, to show them that the prison is a prison, that liberation is possible.
It's holding us down. We're held down collectively because of this.
That what appears as fixed reality is actually constructed limitation that can be transcended through Gnosis. The Wachowskis never hid their Gnostic influences. In interviews, they've cited specific texts. Jean Baudrillard's Simulacra and Simulation appears in the film literally as the hollowed-out book where Neo keeps his contraband software. But beyond the obvious philosophical references, the entire structure of the film follows Gnostic theology so precisely that it functions as initiatory teaching disguised as entertainment. The tragedy is that most viewers engaged with the film on purely surface level. Cool fights, innovative effects.
Which I did. Most all people did that. This is all new to me, but I want to, we will do some funny stuff after this, and I'll put in a joke when I can, but I want people to expand their mind and think in new ways. This could all be horse shit too.
But something, what made me think about this a little bit differently, you once said, when we were talking about, Viagra and stuff, how it's the blue pill.
Blue pill,
like,
exactly. Yes. And I was relating it kind of a little bit to this. Yeah.
And then when we talk about, SSRIs and stuff like that, when you talk about like Zoloft and that, blue pill.
Valium is blue.
And it's like, and it just, when you think about it, these things that are designed to alleviate, anxiety or depression or, to keep us numb, or to not, there was this Roman philosopher who, what's it, Panem Circenses, bread and circuses. Keep people fed and entertained, and they're not going to think or focus on, and they'll never revolt. Yeah, you keep people fed and entertained, and they'll never revolt.
Yeah, and it's this is what I'm saying. It's like that. Well, that will never happen. But then we're also kind of a slave here too. Like, I don't care if you guys want to watch the bread and circuses, but like they're doing that because like we all could be prospering way more and have like flying cars and there could be a lot of adjustments that are made, but a lot of it is because it's a huge multifaceted problem. But like, as we're approaching times where this can be more, World War III, or we're going to see things happen, it's important to understand, like, we're like paying for this to happen.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like, I don't want to contribute to that. Like, we spend a lot of our energy from our paycheck, and the value we create is going to delete other people and stuff. And kind of like, you know what I mean? It doesn't all have to be a bad thing, but I'm saying it's parasitic in nature, and it's kind of evil. Like, I want to see some people go to jail that have done Eastine stuff. If not, then it's like, as far as I'm concerned, that's like, I'm a slave to paying for that. I don't want to pay for any of that.
Well, here's my opinion on why things aren't going to change without some difficulty, because all the people that can change things benefit too much from it. So the people that can change the system benefit too much from the system.
Yes. Yeah. That's about the only way that it can work. But it's just like, and they don't want to change it because it like, and changing whenever you change the system, there must be disruption. And like, in some ways, I would imagine. So like, I know it's not a pleasant thing to talk about, and I'm not just trying to see the world burn here, but like, there are certain fundamental things as human beings we got to start asking ourselves here. We're going to ask ourselves about AI, fiat currency, war in general, because we're creating, a world war, we have a lot of conflict going on for resources and stuff. it's a time we really got to ask ourselves a lot here. Like, how are we conducting ourselves on this planet as human? Like,
Well,
I really feel like that could be in the air. We really need to be doing that.
well, I think you said something to similar. It's about getting us to detach from reality. And when you think about, like, for example, what made me learn about money and currency was back in 2016, 2014, 15. I got a 19.
Because
I
you work
came.
in like the money world, like so you like I'm not being like fully a hater on money and stuff. I'm
Mhm.
just saying the DNA of the system comes from a unsustainable place,
Well,
basically.
it's about making things easier for us to be controlled and corrupted.
Yeah.
Just my
But
thoughts.
you're in the finance world, and or you know a lot about it. And do you have any thoughts on fiat currency, or do you
Oh
think it's
yeah, oh yeah.
fair, or like
Well,
do you
so
think
so
it's
let's look at it from this perspective. First of all, what household can you imagine if you ran your personal affairs like our government? You would be bankrupt a long time ago. And so, what made me learn
yeah,
about this stuff.
exactly. Yeah, like they basically all I'm saying is this: like they can print more money when they need it.
Mhm.
If you ever need it, you're cooked.
That's why they detached it. So,
Yeah.
guys, so I back in so I'm not going to go into the whole story, but long story short, I came across a 1921 peace dollar back in 2014, and I thought it was pretty. I never saw it before. It felt different. It looked different. I just knew something was special about it, and so I took it, put it in my desk drawer along with a 1944 Ben Franklin half dollar. I used to work for a bank, and I was behind the teller line helping the tellers do something, and someone came in with their daughter's piggy bank to exchange it for dollars. And I saw them. I went to the back, grabbed $2, gave it to the teller. She gave it to me plus 50 cents, and I put it in my desk. And one day it was slow, and I pulled it up, looked it up, and I saw at that time like a peace dollar was worth, like, in bad condition, like $16. I'm like, whoa. And then I saw like that half dollar in bad condition was worth like $8. And I'm like, huh. And so, just out of curiosity, I just Googled what could a dollar buy in 1921. And it was like, like 5 pounds of bacon, 3 pounds of chicken, 10, 15 pounds of potatoes, all this stuff. And it just got me thinking, wait, hold on. I can't buy that today with a dollar. But
No.
with what
Yeah.
but with what this
Exactly.
is
We're a
worth.
frog in a boiling water a little bit. It's part of why I'm saying like there has to become a point where we're saying, hey guys, like this is getting to the point where it is kind of like sort of a slavery. Like just for the average, just for someone to have like a regular, like that's why that guy lit the toilet paper thing on fire. He's working full time there. He should be able to have enough to live. He probably can't even afford his rent. You know what I mean? So like it does sort of need to be adjusted, especially when you realize it's all printed.
Yeah.
That's
And
what I'm saying. And it's all printed. So therefore it is a form of it's its own matrix.
and what threw me crazy, what me crazy is that I can, and with what that, and just with just the intrinsic value of what those coins were worth, I could buy the same things in 2014 that it could that this could have bought
Yeah.
me back in
Yeah.
1921. And fast forward even today, just the melt value. I'm not talking about the extrinsic value of what that coin is worth, but just the melt value is worth over $60.
Yeah.
It has maintained its purchasing power 100 years later.
And it's a medicine too, silver.
Oh yeah.
So you can put the silver coin
and milk
into water, and milk.
Yeah, and look, that's what they used to do in the Wild West as they were transversing great distances.
You can make you should do it one time, Seagrip, and try if you ever get sick or something. You can make what's called like colloidal silver. You could actually sell that. I give colloidal silver to myself, not all the time, but my cat, and my cat is almost 24 years old.
Whoa.
And I put it into the water. Yeah. Silver is like
antimicrobial material. Bacterial.
Antibacterial. It's used in some water filtration. That's why it'd be like, oh, you're born with a silver spoon. It's not just because it's silver. It's because certain bacteria wouldn't gather itself on the spoon.
Clay,
that's why.
Clay, and here's how crazy things were. Back in, was it 1931, where they got people to turn in, made it illegal to hold U.S. dollars. I mean gold, and so they got everyone to give up their gold at $20 an ounce, and then they turned around like a year or two later and revalued it at $35 an ounce. Like they literally, it's just insane.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, and don't think that won't happen with crypto. You know what I mean? It's gonna happen with everything eventually. So like, it just will happen. I mean, another way that gold is also powerful is it's used in a lot of well, it can be at the bottom of the ocean and it doesn't like rust and stuff like that. But it's also becoming used in a lot of microprocessing chips and shit like that for AI, silver as well. And again, this is another thing why I wanted to bring up the AI. It's like, at what point are we going to be giving all that just to go to AI? And if that's like what our currency was built on before. So,
and just real quick, and I'll post it in the chat.
Yeah.
But there are 4 things that make money. It has to be fungible, divisible, portable, and a store of value. Currency can never be a store of value because of inflation.
Yeah.
And so because when you think about it, this is why I tell people, we go out in the universe and we create value. We get compensated for that value. But instead of us being like some B-dubs and want to, blow it all, we save some of that and we try to invest it for later. Like, I'm not going to use 100% of the value that I create today. I'm going to take 10, 15, 20%, 30% of the value I create and save it for future C-grip or other opportunities. And that's what currency is not. Just from 2020 to 2025, we've had 25% inflation. That what you could have bought for $1,000, 5 years ago, 5, 6 years ago, you now need $1,300.
Yeah, and that sucks too, because when you're doing like the service-based business like I'm doing, they think it's always old prices of like 1982, and it's like, dude, come on, this is like this doesn't even cover the materials. If I need to build something, it's like you didn't even cover the cost of buying the materials yet.
This is what I knew inflation was real. My younger sister, and when I say younger, I'm talking like a 20-year difference. I remember one day.
Well. You said your dad's like Leroy. Ladies love Leroy or whatever. Like, 20 years later, they still loved him, didn't they?
No. This was my mom being a thought pocket.
Oh, it's the mom. Oh, well, either way. Well.
And I remember she asked me for some money, and I gave her. I think I gave her $1 or $5, and she looked at me like, "What am I supposed to do with this?" And I remember when I was her age, you gave me a quarter, and I thought I was rich.
Yeah.
Funny how times change.
Yeah, well, it's part of this matrix thing too. It's another part of the program. That's why I'm saying, like, we got to start ringing the bell right now, guys, because like the or frog and the boil and water that's warm, and it's slowly starting to get boiling. But like, I'm telling you guys that like, get your mind right, get yourself right with God and stuff, and also understand what's happening here. Like, if they can print more money when they need it and not when you need it, and you have to do labor to get all that. So that's what I'm saying. There is a bit of an element of slavery. Slavery here.
It's more insidious than that. money. I'll think of when I think of
Sure.
the economics person that thought of this, but money flows from the wealthy and trickle down to the poor. Remember, it goes to the
Trickle
banks.
down. Yeah.
And so by the time they print this money and it gets to us, they've already made they all the profit and everything like that, all the economic advantage is already gone.
Yeah.
When I think I learned this back in college. I got the
And
economics law behind
that's part of what I'm saying. It's harder for people right now. Again, I'm not trying to make a victim mindset here. I'm just saying it's harder for people to not make money now, but like just prosper as much, I guess, because like the inflation is just crazy high. I kind of forget the point that I was trying to make. I didn't make a good point there. Let's watch the video a bit more.
Cyberpunk aesthetic. They missed that they were being told, explicitly, that the reality they inhabit might be constructed, that consciousness might be imprisoned, that awakening is possible, but requires the courage to question everything.
That's what I'm talking about. The consciousness is imprisoned. That's what I'm saying. The labor that you do for the money and stuff you get, that's kind of like in a prison too. It's always being parasited off of, and it's getting to sort of a ridiculous amount. I understand there's always going to be, a little bit of tolls and things along the way that you pay, of course, but it's just getting hard for people to like even prosper, I guess.
And the willingness to see truths that are disturbing and difficult. The film.
I guess I'm saying this: it's harder to build wealth when a lot of people are just trying to get their basic needs met, and like a lot of people still like are working full time and stuff, but like the way that it used to be, you'd have your whole like if you worked 1 week. That's why they'd say just get a job, because if you worked like 1 week, you could afford like your rent for the month. Like right now, people are just basically working their tits off to like make rent, and we're not like producing anything either. We're not really like making that much of value a lot of the time.
They want to keep us in survival mode.
Yeah,
because when you start thinking about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, they don't want us to
self-actualize. Yeah,
exactly. They want to keep us in survival and struggle.
Yeah, and they want you to think that self-actualization just means acquiring material wealth and money a lot of the time, or which it is part of it. Like we need money and shit. Like, but I'm saying like they don't want you to. I guess go ahead, Secret. They're going to keep us in survival.
One exactly, and one thing you got to see, and that's why I think they're afraid of movements like ours, communities like ours, and want to label us, crazy eccentrics or 8 groups. I said the number 8 groups.
Yeah,
and they want to brand us as that because it becomes dangerous when men unplug from the system. And so when we start becoming self-sufficient, when we look for ways to reduce not only our carbon footprint, but our economic footprint, this is what the status quo is afraid of. Because without us, the system collapses. And we're already seeing those cracks. And please believe me, believe it or not, my personal belief is the system is not going to go down without a fight.
Yeah. And this is also just about understanding. Like here's and I'll talk about kids too. I don't want kids. You know why? Animals don't want to have babies when they're in a zoo. They know they're in a zoo. It's not the real thing. It's not the wild. I don't want to have a kid and bring it into the direction that this is going. You know what I mean? Like, I think if I'm saying, part of this is cooked and everything, it's like, for me, I've had to think about that. Maybe later in life or something, but I'm just saying, like, I think there's a lot of things to think about that. And I think some people who have kids also need to, I can't imagine what it's like being a parent right now. I'm kind of glad I don't have to deal with it, to be honest.
I was actually in the Discord and connected with Steve M, and we were chatting, and I was kind of sharing, my different goals. And I know for me, one of my long-term goals that I'm hoping will come to fruition is, get me some land out in DR and actually start my own little homestead. And in the next 5 years, and if I do that,
big booty Latina farm, you can grow watermelons there. Oh,
trust me. And look, if that starts to come to fruition in the next 3 years, I might be growing a little, mini grips. because once you unplug and once you're able to be self-sustainable, or at least sustain 80% of your needs, that just opens up a whole new world of possibility, but also potential and protection.
Yeah.
Itself became part of the Matrix, entertainment that could be consumed without triggering the very awakening it was designed to inspire. The sequels expanded on these themes, though less successfully. The second film revealed that even Zion, the supposed real world, might be another layer of control.
I think I've seen the second Matrix, but I don't recall it being as profound and stuff.
Liberation is more complex than simple escape from one level of simulation. The third film's resolution, with Neo sacrificing himself to bring temporary peace between humans and machines, suggests
that's probably supposed to be Christ-like.
That complete liberation.
Yeah, so here's another thing too. It's like a thing that seems weird is so I like the Gnostic view more than he just like I've really been digging this Gnostic type of mindset recently.
From material existence isn't the goal. Conscious engagement with material reality is. But the first Matrix remains the
run you through it, Delato, is we're talking about. I changed it to saying like for a lot of people, but kind of boomers and stuff, because boomers have a lot of like they've really had a huge influence for a lot of us because they were our elders and showed us how to live and stuff. But materialism is their god. I think you and me were talking about this. Materialism is their god, and or getting the money to acquire those said material things or luxuries of ordering food and shit like that.
Yeah, we were talking about how the goal for them was to work hard, to get money, to get nice things, to try to attract women, basically to simp. And then when they get
in a lot of ways, and then a lot of ways we're all like simping to materialism, but that's what they were doing before.
To them wanting to get money to attract a woman, to get with a woman, and then possibly start a family. But it all starts with the thirst for money and women.
Or even to have other people tell them they're cool because their truck is cool or something like that, which there is real stuff to it. I'm not saying like don't be like there is part of that that's cool, but like they think that like is the only way to be cool or that makes them cool. But for some sheep, it does help a lot, I guess.
First presentation of Gnostic philosophy in mainstream cinema. It took
so there's nothing wrong with materialism, but they're materialism, vanity, consumerism, and vapidness, and consuming content, consuming media, and those things, like that is their god.
Ancient texts about the demiurge and archons, about material existence as prison, about consciousness trapped in illusion, about Gnosis as the path to liberation, and translated all of it into a visual language that millions could access. Whether they understood what they were seeing, whether they recognized the Gnostic teaching embedded in the action sequences and special effects, that's another question. But the teaching was there.
That guy is cooked.
He's melted.
Is still there, waiting in one of the most popular films of the late 20th century, for those with eyes to see and ears to hear. The Matrix as Gnostic allegory works because it doesn't just reference Gnostic ideas, it embodies them completely. The film itself functions as the red pill, offering viewers a choice: dismiss it as entertaining fiction and return to comfortable acceptance of consensus reality, or let it raise the question that drives everything. What if the world I'm experiencing isn't what it appears to be? What if I'm trapped in a system designed to keep me unconscious? What if awakening is possible, but requires seeing through comfortable illusions to disturbing truths? That question,
And
once genuinely asked, can't be unasked. And asking it is the beginning of the journey that
And again, this is what you want to be like.